It's 4:11 in the morning. I know that because my watch is still ticking, even though everything else has stopped. No buzz from the phone. No hum from the refrigerator. The lights flickered out about an hour ago, and the backup generator's kicking just enough juice to run the transmitter and one of the low-watt bulbs overhead. It's dim in here. Real dim. I can see the frost on the inside of the window starting to creep in from the edges, like the cold's trying to reclaim this space. Feels like winter's arriving early this year, or maybe time's just getting weird. There's this awful silence out there, not the kind you get late at night in the country, but a silence that feels wrong, heavy, like the earth itself is holding its breath. I'm Tom Whitmore. You're listening to what's left of Station 1160 AM, and I guess this is as close to a lifeline as any of us have right now. I'm broadcasting from the basement level of what used to be a local firehouse out here in northern Wyoming, just off Route 26 near Riverton. The station got moved here a few years back after the old tower got hit by a spring twister. We never fully finished the rebuild, but there's just enough equipment left in this shack to send a signal out over shortwave and AM. If you can hear me, you're still here. That means something. If you had to choose a place to hole up during the collapse, what city, state, or building would it be? Why? I don't know if anyone's still keeping time properly. I've been up for what feels like 3 days straight, just watching, listening, writing things down in a notepad I had stashed in a drawer. I keep coming back to the same moment, the one where everything changed. It wasn't loud, not like in the movies. There wasn't a single dramatic boom or explosion. No one screamed. It was just this slow, sick crawl into wrongness. That's the only way I can describe it. The world didn't break all at once. It just slumped, like something vital underneath it, got pulled out, and the rest of it sagged. The first weird thing was the dogs. Last Thursday, 5 days ago now, every single dog in my neighborhood started barking at once. Middle of the night, all different kinds, labs, shepherds, mutts. They weren't barking like they were scared either. They were warning something. Then I noticed the birds were gone. You don't realize how much bird song fills up your morning until there's nothing. No crows, no sparrows, not even the fat pigeons that loiter around the diner parking lot. Just dead silence, like the sky gave up. That afternoon, a guy named Ellis from the county water board came into the station. He's an old friend, retired last year. Used to be a solid voice of reason. He told me something was wrong with the reservoir telemetry, said the pumps were still working, but nobody upstream was responding to manual override calls. Then he asked if I'd seen the CDC's advisory page. I told him no. My internet had been in and out for 2 days. He got real quiet and handed me a sheet of paper he'd printed out. It said, "Stay in your homes. Avoid contact with bodily fluids. Unexplained aggression and fever should be reported immediately." That was it. No further info. No map. No context. Just that. He looked at me and said, "I think this is a level 4. I think we're seeing something viral." That was the first time I heard the word viral in this context. I brushed it off. I mean, come on. We've been through Ebola scares, flu panics, monkeypox. It all feels hyped until it's not. But that night, I started getting the calls. People I haven't spoken to in months, all ringing at once, breathless, whispering like someone was listening. A woman I knew from back when I did community radio down in Lander told me her husband had tried to bite her. Not hit her, not scream at her. Bite. She said he was shivering so bad his teeth clacked. She locked him in the cellar and ran. I don't know what's happened to her since. Her line went dead 2 minutes into the call. The station phones died the next morning. Cell towers aren't pinging anything. I tried the emergency weather band and got static. No NOAA alerts. No Civil Guard PSAs. Just static. The strangest thing is the sky. I know it sounds stupid, but it's too quiet up there. No contrails. No aircraft. No hum of long-haul flights way up in the stratosphere. It's like someone pressed pause on the whole sky. Yesterday, I climbed up to the roof to check the repeater dish. Nothing wrong with the gear itself, but I saw smoke rising to the northwest. Looked like near the Wind River Reservation. Big column, black smoke, not white. That's structure fire, not brush. And no sirens, no helicopters, no movement on the highway below, except this one semi I saw jackknifed into the median near the turnoff. The cab door was open, nobody inside. I've got this old CB radio rigged up now. A few minutes ago I picked up a voice, broken, garbled. Couldn't catch a name, just the words, "They're not dead, they're still moving. Please, someone." Then nothing. I replayed it twice. It's burned into my head now. I don't know who they were talking about or where they were, but I know fear when I hear it. That wasn't panic. That was resignation. I don't know if this is the beginning or the middle or the end of whatever's happening. I just know something is unraveling. I've lived through blackouts and blizzards. I've been snowed in for 9 days with nothing but baked beans and a wind-up flashlight. This feels different. This feels like something big died, and we're just walking around in its body, pretending it's still breathing. I've barricaded the outer door with an old fireproof cabinet and chained the back exit. I've got enough canned food to last me a few weeks, and the water tank downstairs still runs, though I'm not drinking it without boiling it first. I don't trust anything piped anymore. You shouldn't either. If you're still out there, take this seriously. Whatever this is, it spreads. Fast. I don't know if it's airborne, fluid-based, or something else, but it changes people. And once they change, they're not people anymore. I watched a man get out of his truck just down the road yesterday, walked maybe 10 feet before he collapsed to his knees, twitched like a broken puppet, got back up. I swear to God his arms weren't working right, elbows bent the wrong way. He staggered into the woods. I haven't seen him come back. If you're somewhere safe, stay put. Board up, gather water, cans, batteries, bandages, fuel. Anything analog is gold now. Forget your apps. Forget Google. Your world is what's right in front of you. If you've got an old radio, dust it off. Set it to 1160 AM or sweep the shortwave band around 4.870 megahertz. That's where I'm broadcasting from, and I'll stay on as long as the generator keeps humming and my voice holds out. I'll keep talking, even if nobody answers, because someone has to witness this. Someone has to name the thing before it devours everything we were. I'll be back in 20 minutes, maybe sooner if I see something. If you're listening, stay alive. I'll be right here. It's 4:33 now. I had to shut the generator off for 10 minutes. It's running too hot. She's an old diesel clunker that the firehouse kept in case of power failures during wildland season, but she's not built for constant duty. I don't want to lose it on day 2. That's what I'm calling this, by the way. Day 2. Day 1 was the silence. Today's the unraveling. I looked outside while the power was down. The frost on the windows has thickened into a kind of soft blur, but I scraped a circle clear with the sleeve of my jacket and stared out at the street. You can usually see all the way to the intersection near the co-op, maybe a quarter mile. This morning, you can barely see the edge of the firehouse parking lot. The fog is thick, too thick. It's hanging low to the ground like smoke, but there's no smell. Just that weird, sterile cold, the kind that gets into your bones and makes your teeth hurt. I stood there for a while, trying to listen for movement, for footsteps or an engine or even birds. Nothing. Just the buzz of the transmitter and the crackle of old wiring above my head. I don't know how many people are still out there. I know there were folks in the shelter over by Arapahoe Road. Used to be an old church basement turned food pantry with some cots and solar panels. I hope someone thought to check in there. I should have, but I didn't. I stayed here. I told myself I needed to broadcast, that the station needed to stay live. But the truth is, I was scared. Still am. I've seen enough horror movies to know when the streets go quiet, you don't go walking into the mist with a flashlight and hope. That's not bravery. That's suicide. About 20 minutes ago, I heard something outside. Not human. Something scraping across asphalt. Metal on metal or bone, maybe. It was faint. I killed the lights and ducked beneath the window. Waited. Then nothing. I stood there a long time before I convinced myself to sit back down and turn the generator back on. I don't know if I'm getting paranoid or if it's worse than we thought. I keep replaying what Ellis said about the waterboard and the CDC bulletin. There's something bothering me. Why that phrasing? Avoid contact with bodily fluids. That's specific. Not just wash your hands or cover your mouth. That's something else. And that line, unexplained aggression and fever should be reported. Unexplained to who? Who's taking those calls now? The sheriff's office is dark. I've driven by. Windows busted. Radio towers limp. Someone tried to light a signal fire on the roof and it scorched half the shingles. That was 2 nights ago. I don't think anyone's left in there. If this is a virus, and I'm not saying it is, I'm just thinking out loud, then it's not a normal one. Not a flu, not rabies, not even something like SARS or that hemorrhagic fever stuff. It's too fast, too invasive. The way people talk about it, those who've seen it. They say the infected change in under an hour, some even quicker. Eyes cloud over. Skin turns gray around the jaw. Breathing gets shallow, then heavy, then gone. And then, God help us, they stand up again. I'm not going to use the Z word. Not yet. We don't know enough. But if you've read the stories, if you've watched those late-night cable reruns from 20 years ago, you know what I'm not saying. People rising again. Biting. Tearing. Not thinking. That's not illness. That's something worse. Something primal. And it's not just Hollywood fiction anymore. The post office hasn't made a delivery in 3 days. Mail trucks are still sitting outside. One has the door open, like the driver just stepped out to stretch his legs and never came back. The food mart down by the river was looted sometime last night. I found broken bottles in the alley, and one of those shopping baskets twisted into a shape I can't explain. Looks like someone slammed it against the wall hard enough to bend it in half. But there were no footprints, just streaks, drag marks in the dirt. I know how that sounds. Believe me, I do. The power grid is unstable. I checked the emergency band again, still static. No ways not transmitting. No amber alerts, no weather warnings, just silence, like they've all gone dark at once. The internet's fried. Maybe not everywhere, but here it's gone. And once the cell towers died, the only thing keeping us tethered to each other are these analog waves. These tiny pulses of voice crawling through space. That's why I'm still here. That's why I'm not leaving. I've been thinking about what to tell you, what you need to do to survive this, if this spreads the way I think it might. Rule 1, don't rely on your phone. It's a flashlight now, nothing more. And even that won't last. Get batteries, lots of them. Hand crank if you can. Old radios too. The kind you thought were junk in a drawer. Rule 2. Get water. Not from the tap. That might be compromised. Rain catchment, sealed containers, anything you can boil. Rule 3. Stay quiet at night. I mean it. Keep your lights low. Don't broadcast sound. If this thing hunts by sound, if it reacts like animals do, you don't want to be the only noise in the valley. And finally, find others. If you're alone, your odds drop. Find someone who knows first aid. Find someone who can fix things. Someone who's good at hunting, tracking, making do. This is going to be about the old ways again. About community, barter, firewood, and grit. We laughed at preppers. We rolled our eyes at ham radio nuts. But they were right, weren't they? The world was always 1 week away from unraveling, and now we're living in the part no one planned for. If you're hearing this, I need to know. Send a signal. Use mirrors in the day, lanterns at night. Set up flags, make noise at noon. Something. I'll scan the bands every 2 hours, top of the hour, and again at 30 past. I'm not giving up. I don't think you should either. I saw a kid yesterday, maybe 11, pushing a bicycle with a flat tire past the edge of town. She had a backpack strapped so tight it looked like she could barely breathe, and she was dragging a broom handle behind her like it was a spear. She didn't look scared. She looked ready, and that shook me more than anything else. Because if kids are starting to adapt already, then maybe there's hope. Maybe we can. I'll sign off for now. Give the generator a breather, but I'll be back on at 5 o'clock. If anything happens before then, I'll break in early. Just keep breathing. That's all we can do for now. It's just past 5 now. The sky outside's starting to lighten, but not in a normal way. There's this sick-looking gray haze hanging low over the fields, thick like smoke, but without the fire. It makes everything feel wrong, like we're living inside a photograph that someone left out in the rain. I walked to the top floor to check the visibility, and from the old watchroom, I can usually make out the water tower and the tree line near Cactus Hill. Now, it's like staring into milk. No movement, no headlights, no deer, not even the wind pushing the grass. Just this dead, awful stillness that clings to your clothes and makes the inside of your mouth feel like paper. I've been keeping a log, marking every noise, every flicker of power, every sign of movement. I don't know why. Maybe I think someone will find this one day. Or maybe I just need something to do besides pacing a 20 by 20 bunker and whispering at ghosts. The thing is, I don't think this is just here anymore. I think it's everywhere. This morning, I finally managed to lock onto a faint signal out of central Kansas. It was garbled, static heavy, like it had been bouncing around the sky for hours. But the voice was clear enough to make out 3 words. Do not approach. It repeated twice, then silence. No origin point, no call sign. Just that same male voice, low and tired, like he already knew nobody would listen. Do not approach. That's all he said. Not who, not where, just that. You know, I keep going back to the last normal moment I can remember. I was in the kitchen making coffee when the power flickered the first time. Thought it was a brownout. We get those when too many people run heaters in the fall, but this one was different. The lights didn't dim. They shivered. And then everything just stopped. The microwave froze. The fridge let out this awful groan, like it was dying. My phone went dark and never came back. That was 4 days ago. I live alone. No wife. No kids. My parents passed a few years back. Most of my friends moved out of state when the economy tanked. So when it all went dark, I didn't have anyone to call. I grabbed my jacket and walked out to the road, thinking maybe it was just our grid. But it wasn't. The whole valley was out. I saw smoke rising in the distance and figured a transformer blew. But there were no sirens, no news vans, no helicopters overhead. Nothing. Just dogs howling in the distance. And those howls, they didn't sound right. Too long. Too low. Like the dogs weren't warning us anymore. Like they were mourning. I'm going to tell you something I haven't told anyone yet. Mostly because I didn't want to believe it myself. But if I'm going to keep this mic open, I've got to be honest. On the second night, just past midnight, I saw someone moving down by the riverbank, just outside town. I thought maybe it was a stranded driver or a looter. They were barefoot. Their gait was off, like they were dragging one leg. I called out from the station porch. No answer. They just kept walking, stumbling. Then they stopped. Their head jerked toward me like they'd just remembered they had one. And even from 100 yards away, I swear I could see their eyes. Cloudy, pale, like milk. They stared at me for a full minute, then turned around and walked straight into the river. Didn't even hesitate. Just disappeared into the current like it was nothing. I never saw them come up. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was real. But I haven't left the station grounds since. Here's what I know so far. The hospitals are offline. I drove past Riverton Medical on day 1. Generators weren't running. The ER doors were busted inward, not outward. There were bloody handprints on the glass. Some smeared. Some just there. Like someone had been trying to hold the doors closed from the inside. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. You could feel it from the parking lot. Whatever happened in there, it wasn't medical. Gas pumps aren't working. ATMs are dead. Grocery store shelves are already stripped. The only thing left were those plastic-wrapped loaves of gluten-free bread nobody ever wanted. I saw an old man take one, look at it, and put it back like he was ashamed to need it. I haven't seen him since. I've got 4 cans of beef stew left, 6 bottles of water, and a few granola bars. If anyone's listening and you're nearby, I'm open to trade. Batteries, fuel, info. I've got a map, and I've been marking every reported incident, every direction I hear static or movement from. We can start building a picture, even if it's small, even if it's only a handful of us. The old ways matter now. Word of mouth, observation, memory. There's something about the smell in the air I can't shake. It's faint, like copper and rot. Not enough to gag you, just enough to stick in your nose. I think it's coming from the fields. I think something's out there. Last night I tried to sleep. Didn't last more than an hour. I kept hearing scratching, like nails on the concrete just outside the south wall. I shined a flashlight but didn't see anything. Not even footprints this morning. Maybe it was wind. Maybe not. I'll say this one more time. If you're safe, stay put. Board your windows. Turn off your lights at night. Don't trust voices outside your door. If they sound wrong, if they repeat the same phrase, or if they stop and start like a bad recording, don't open the door. I know how that sounds. I know it's insane. But you don't have the luxury of pretending anymore. The rules changed. You either listen, or you don't wake up. There's a girl named Maria who used to work at the diner here. She was tough. Ex-military, I think. She'd keep a bat under the counter. Said it was for drunks. But I always figured she was waiting for something bigger. Last I saw her, she was loading up her truck with propane and bottled water. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Tom, you'll want to be underground by Sunday." That was 2 days ago. I didn't ask why. I think part of me already knew. If she's still out there, Maria, if you hear this, please check in. Even if it's just a burst of static. I'm listening. It's getting colder again. The kind of cold that comes before a storm. But the forecast doesn't mean anything now. There's no radar, no satellites. Just your own 2 eyes and the smell of the wind. You have to pay attention to the old signs again. Cloud movement, the way trees lean, the way animals vanish. If you're near Fremont County and you've got a working radio, try broadcasting at even hours on AM. I'll be scanning every frequency from 800 to 1300, and again from 3.5 to 5 megahertz shortwave. If you can't speak, bang on something metal. 3 quick hits, a pause, then 3 more. I'll know it's you. Stay warm. Stay hidden. Don't trust anything with eyes that don't blink. I'll be back in 30, or sooner if something comes. It's just after 5:30. I've been sitting here with my hand on the dial, trying to catch any hint of movement on the airwaves. It's dead out there. Not quiet. Dead. There's a difference. Quiet means someone might still be listening. Dead means I could scream into this mic until my lungs give out and nobody would answer. The hum of the generators starting to feel like the only real sound left in the world. Even that's fading into background noise. Like it's part of me now. Like my own heartbeat is just one more failing machine. I've started leaving a candle lit next to the transmitter panel. Not for light, not really. Just for something warm. Something alive. There's this cold in the bunker that never fully leaves, even when the space heater's on. It's in the walls, in the concrete, maybe even in me. My hands shake when I try to write. I dropped my pen earlier and just stared at it on the floor for 5 minutes before I picked it up again. Don't know why I'm telling you that. Just trying to keep track of what's real, I guess. Earlier, I tried the landline again. Not because I expected it to work, but because it's routine. The line still gives a dial tone, but when you try to connect, it just clicks once and then nothing. Like someone's on the other end, just listening, waiting. Same with the emergency scanner. Every now and then, I hear a crackle. Maybe a burst of something that almost sounds human, but it always cuts out before I can lock on. It's like trying to grab smoke with your hands. Maddening. I haven't been outside since dawn, not even to check the barricades. I keep telling myself I will after I finish this next broadcast. Then I don't. I make another cup of instant coffee instead. I count how many cans of soup I have left. I listen to the wind scratching against the steel doors and tell myself it's nothing. The strangest part? I haven't seen any bodies. You'd expect bodies by now, wouldn't you? That's what always happens in the stories, streets littered with the dead. But there's nothing. No piles, no blood, no cleanup crews either. It's like everyone just stepped out, vanished into the mist. Or worse, like they're still out there, but not themselves anymore. I keep thinking about that man who walked into the river, the way his arms moved, like they weren't connected to his brain anymore, like he was being pulled by something inside him, something deeper than thought, instinct maybe, or something worse. And the way he stared at me before he went under, it wasn't anger. It wasn't confusion. It was empty, hollow, like the part that made him human had already left. That's what scares me most. Not the violence, not the collapse, but the emptiness. I went upstairs to the roof just after 5. right before the last broadcast, just for a few minutes, to check the air. It was still foggy, still thick, but I could see something moving out near the tree line, barely visible, slow, like a line of figures drifting through the gray. Could have been animals, could have been people. Too far to tell. But they weren't walking right. They weren't walking like they were going somewhere, just drifting. That same dragging motion. No direction, just movement. I don't know what's causing this. I don't know if it's a virus or a toxin or something worse. I don't know if the government's still functioning. I haven't heard a single official voice in 2 days. No governors, no mayors, no White House feed, no NORAD, not even FEMA. And that's not normal. Even during the wildfires last year, we still had someone checking in every hour. This isn't failure. This is abandonment. I remember hearing stories years ago, back when I worked nights down in Oklahoma. Tornadoes would rip through entire towns, and sometimes people wouldn't wait for the sirens. They'd grab what they could, pack up the truck, and leave before the winds even touched down. They knew. Instinct. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe the ones who could feel it coming already left. And the rest of us, we're the ones who stayed too long. If anyone's still out there near the Riverton area, I need to know if the bridges are still intact, especially the one over the Wind River near Red Cliffs. If that goes, we're cut off. No way out by road except east, and that takes you through the canyon. And I wouldn't bet on that path staying clear for long. Not with what's moving out there. I'm going to risk it and ask for something personal. If you're hearing this and you knew someone named Eli Whitmore, my brother, please tell me if he's okay. He was stationed at Cheyenne working logistics. We haven't spoken in years. Stupid reasons. Family stuff. But if anyone has word from the Air National Guard or from the base up there, I just need to know if he made it out. Even if he didn't, I just need to know. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a leader. I'm just a guy with a mic, a generator, and enough stubbornness to keep talking into the dark. But I'll say this. I know what it feels like to be hunted. I know what it feels like when something is out there that doesn't make sense. And this thing that's happening, it doesn't make sense. It's not just sickness. It's something deeper. Something old. I've been reading through a field manual we had stored down here, an old army one from the Cold War, back when people thought nuclear fallout was the worst thing that could happen. It's got a section on biological threats, and tucked in the back, someone had scribbled a note. Just 3 words. Containment always fails. I don't know who wrote that, but they were right. The best we can do now is hold the line for as long as we can. Share information. Keep each other sane. Remember who we are while we still can. Because if this thing takes everything else from us, the only thing left will be memory. Stories. A voice in the dark. That's why I'm still here. I'll check back in at the top of the hour. If you're out there, anywhere, anyone, I'm listening. Stay hidden. Stay human. And whatever you do, don't go into the fog. It's 6 on the dot. I just finished boiling a little water over a sterno flame and poured it over some stale instant oatmeal I found in the back cabinet. I didn't even care that it smelled like cardboard. There's something about eating something warm that feels like a ritual now. Like a way to prove to myself I'm still here. That I'm still human. Even if it tastes like damp paper and glue. I stepped outside for 30 seconds. Just enough to feel the wind. It's colder than it should be. Too dry, too sharp. and it carries this faint smell of decay, like something rotting miles away, carried in on the breeze. I don't know if it's bodies or something worse, but it's everywhere now. The air feels heavier, like the planet itself is pressing in on you. I used to love mornings here, the kind where the sun would crawl up over the buttes and paint the valley gold. But not today. There's no gold in this sky, just a dull gray that never ends. I thought I saw someone standing on the road while I was out there. A shadow, maybe 50 feet past the last fire truck in the lot. Still, watching. But I blinked and it was gone. Could have been the fog playing tricks. Could have been something else. I didn't go to check. I didn't want to. I keep getting flashes in my head, memories, or maybe just noise. My old truck. My mom making coffee in the kitchen with that ugly green percolator. Music playing low in the background. I'd give anything to hear a song again. Not a broadcast, not a voice. Just a song. Something normal. Something that means the world hasn't completely ended. There's this rustling in the walls sometimes. Not rats. I know what rats sound like. This is slower, more like someone dragging a hand along the cinder block from the outside. It never stays long, just enough to keep me awake, just enough to make me think about turning off the generator and walking out into the dark. I won't, but I think about it. I've started a map, just lines and pins drawn on paper, trying to track where I think the infected, or whatever they are, might be moving. Reports from broken signals, smoke plumes, areas where the static changes pitch. It's not science, but it's something. I've got markers near Thermopolis, Casper, and west into the mountains. It's not spreading in a circle. It's following the roads, the rivers, places where people went to flee. Makes sense, doesn't it? They follow us. Last I heard from outside Wyoming was a broken message out of Salt Lake. Voice was panicked, male, probably late 20s. He said the word containment 3 times, then hospital breach, then cut out. Never came back. I kept listening all night. Nothing. I keep thinking about what kind of breach would make a hospital fall. How many people would it take? Or was it just one? One person, infected, in the right hallway. That's all it would take. I think about elevators sometimes. All the people who might have been trapped when the power died. In cities, in towers, in hospitals. Stuck between floors with no light, no air, and something banging on the doors. God help them. It's funny what starts to matter when the world goes quiet. Like, I found myself organizing my tools earlier. Laying out screwdrivers, wrenches, even a broken multimeter I don't know how to fix. I sat there for half an hour lining them up just so. Why? Because it felt like order, like control, because there's so little else I can control now. I tried calling into the Cheyenne weather relay using the old field radio. Got a return ping, weak, automated, one of those old repeating bots. It just said, WX84, operational, standby mode. No human response. That's it. Not offline. Just nobody there to answer. The machine's still breathing, but the people are gone. That hit me harder than I thought it would. I don't know if anyone's coming. No military, no convoys, no drops, no helicopters overhead. I haven't seen aircraft in days. You realize how loud the sky used to be? Planes, drones, satellites. All that sound you didn't notice until it stopped. It's gone now. Even the stars feel dimmer. I tried climbing the North Ridge yesterday with my field glasses. Just needed to see further, get a view of the main road coming down from Jackson. What I saw scared the hell out of me. Cars scattered along the pass, some wrecked, some just abandoned, doors open, but not a single person. No crows, no wildlife, just metal and silence. It looked like a still frame from a movie, like time had just given up. I don't know what this virus is or how it started, but I've seen enough to know it doesn't act like anything we've seen before. It doesn't kill and stop. It kills and keeps moving. Something in it rewires the body, overrides the soul. That's the best I can put it. People talk about zombies like they're some joke, but I don't think these things are dead. Not really. I think they're stuck in some in-between state, like the body forgot how to die, and they don't move all the time. Sometimes they just stand, still, watching, waiting, like they're listening for something. Maybe it's the sound of us. Don't run your generators outside. Don't cook with open flame near the windows. Don't use light after sundown unless it's covered. And if you hear voices calling your name from outside after dark, don't answer. They mimic. That's what scares me most. They mimic. I heard it last night. My own voice calling from the edge of the field, whispering things I never said. Things no one could have known. I sat in the corner with my hands over my ears and waited until sunrise, and it stopped. Whatever this is, it learns. If you're hearing this, you're still alive. That counts for something. Survival isn't just about food and water. It's about memory, about holding on to the things that made us people. Music, laughter, firelight, kindness, even if we have to carry them like embers in the dark. I'll check back in at 7. Until then, remember your name. Remember who you are. That might be the last thing that saves you. Don't let the silence in. It's 7. The clock on the wall isn't working anymore. I've been using the old wind-up watch I keep in the drawer, the one I haven't worn since 2008. It ticks loud enough to feel like a metronome for my thoughts, every second dragging by like it's got weight. I'm still here, still breathing, still talking, and still waiting for someone, anyone, to answer back. I've started to ration my voice, talking less when I'm off the mic. Even whispering to myself feels like a waste now. I need to save it for you, for the air, for whatever this broadcast becomes. I don't know if anyone's still tuning in. I don't even know if there's anyone left out there who can. But I keep going. Not because I think it'll save me, but because it's the only thing I know how to do. There's something wrong with the air today. It's thicker, heavier, not like fog now, more like dust, but not the dry kind you wipe off a shelf. This has weight, tastes metallic, leaves a film in your throat. My tongue's dry and raw, and I haven't been coughing, but I can feel something in my lungs like wet cloth, like something thick trying to settle where breath should be. I'm still boiling water, still filtering, but I've started wearing a mask indoors. Doesn't help much. Makes me feel like I'm doing something, though, and that's worth more than you'd think. I heard screaming about 20 minutes ago, off to the east, maybe a quarter mile. Could have been a coyote. But no coyote screams like that. It was a man. Then it changed. Halfway through, it bent upward, broke into something wrong, like his vocal cords tore mid-scream. Then silence. I didn't go check. I wrote it down instead, not because I wanted to remember it, just so I wouldn't forget that it happened. You know what's worse than fear? Doubt. Doubt eats you slow, makes you question every choice, every memory, every glance out the window. Was that movement? Was that light? Was that real? I second guess everything now. I stared at a puddle this morning and watched the reflection twist, thinking maybe someone was behind me. But when I turned, there was nothing. Just me. Just walls. I started writing a letter to myself. Don't laugh. It's true. Just a page, maybe two. Reminding myself of who I was before this. Of my name. My voice. My favorite song. I haven't read it yet. Just folded it and tucked it in the pocket of my jacket. For the day, when I forget, I guess. There's a highway checkpoint about 9 miles south of here, out past the irrigation plant. Used to be a seasonal ranger station. Last year, they added concrete barriers and a few cameras. Homeland Security was doing a drill, something about agricultural disease control. I thought it was overkill at the time. Now, I wonder if they knew something. If that checkpoint was never meant for livestock inspection. If it was always about people. I've thought about trying to make it down there. Maybe find gear. Maybe answers. But every time I get near the garage door, something stops me. It's not the cold. It's not fear. It's something deeper. Something like instinct. Like stepping off a ledge in a dream and knowing the fall will never end. My gut says, don't go. And I've learned to trust that voice more than the ones on the radio. I haven't eaten since early morning. Just water, trying to stretch the supplies. I've got a few protein bars and a jar of peanut butter that expired last summer, but I don't trust the mold I found under the rim. I'm boiling rice now, plain. The smell's weak, but it cuts through the chemical stink in the air. A reminder of heat, of normal. I keep a flashlight near me at all times now, not for light, but for the sound it makes when I click it. It's become a kind of rhythm. 1 click when I feel okay, 2 when I feel wrong. I click it sometimes just to prove I still can. I wish I had more to give you than fear. I wish I could tell you there's a convoy coming, or that the infection's burning itself out. But I haven't seen any burnouts. No signs of bodies decomposing the way they should. No animal activity around them. No birds feeding. Just silence. Just waiting. I wonder if the infected feel anything. If they know they're changed. Or if they're just hollow shells, driven by instinct and fragments of memory. Like muscle remembers doors, and hands remember knobs, but the mind is gone. Just a loop of movement until something breaks. If that's what this is, then God help us. There's a town north of here, Shoshone. Population wasn't much, maybe 600. I haven't heard a single signal from there, not a blip, not even static. It's like it got erased, wiped clean. You'd think someone would try a ham radio, light a flare, Morse code on a rooftop. But there's nothing. I've been thinking a lot about light, how it moves, how it feels on skin. I haven't seen true sunlight in days, just this dim wash of gray. You start to forget what warmth feels like. Your fingers go numb and your breath fogs the air. And even when you're wrapped in blankets, the cold feels like it's coming from inside you, like your bones are remembering winter early. If you're somewhere safe, stay there. Don't go looking for help. Don't assume this is like the last crisis. There is no shelter list, no FEMA camp, no coordination. We're on our own now. If there are any groups still out there, they've gone dark for a reason. Stay hidden. Stay quiet. Use daylight when you can, but never linger. If you hear voices calling to you and they sound familiar, be careful. They remember things about you. That's the part that breaks me. They remember. I heard someone whispering my mother's name last night. She's been gone 15 years. I didn't even know I remembered her voice that clearly. But it was perfect. down to the sigh she used to make after she lit a cigarette. That's not coincidence. That's something inside this thing learning, studying, trying to pull us out. Don't fall for it. I'll be back at 8, if the generator holds and the signal stays strong. I've been listening to the static lately, not just on the band, but in the silence. There's a shape to it, a pattern, like something pushing through the noise, trying to make itself known. I don't know if it's human, but I'll keep listening, because that's all we have left. It's just after 8. I can hear something moving across the roof again. I don't know if it's an animal or something else. I didn't check this time. I just froze where I was, listening. It moved slow, like it wasn't in a rush, like it knew I wouldn't come up there. Whatever it was, it didn't make a sound when it left. No footsteps, no jump down, nothing. It just stopped being there. That's worse somehow. The air's even thicker now. I've got a damp cloth tied around my nose and mouth, but it doesn't make much difference. You breathe it in anyway. That taste. It's like blood in the back of your throat. I've been drinking hot water just to keep it from settling. I keep thinking about all the people with asthma, or COPD, or kids whose lungs are still figuring out how to work. How are they supposed to survive in air like this? There's a scrape on the east door. Not a big one. Just enough to make me stop talking. Like a fingernail dragging across the outside handle. I didn't check. I didn't breathe. I just sat still and waited. It didn't happen again. The problem is, I'm not sure how long I can stay here. I've been looking at my supplies, counting what's left. I've got maybe 4 more days of food if I stretch it. Water's harder to figure. I've been rationing, boiling, filtering through a bandana when I have to, but I can't tell if the supply's still clean. Tastes different. Might just be in my head. There's an old gas station about 1.5 miles west. One of those mom and pop places that went out of business when the highway expansion bypassed it. I haven't seen anyone go near it since this all started. I'm thinking about heading there. Not tonight, but maybe tomorrow. I could risk it while there's still light. See if there's anything worth bringing back. Food, fuel, maybe even batteries. Or maybe just a reason to keep moving. I know what you're thinking. Why leave? Why risk it? Because sitting still starts to rot you from the inside out. The silence becomes this loud, constant pressure in your skull. Like the absence of noise is its own kind of scream. And the longer I sit here, the more I start to wonder if I'm really alone, or if something's just waiting for me to stop paying attention. I keep hearing things, not just outside, inside, in the pipes, in the vents. A low moan, soft enough to convince me it might be the wind, until I realize the wind doesn't have rhythm. It doesn't rise and fall like breathing. Last night I saw someone, not close, not near the doors. They were standing at the edge of the field beyond the gravel lot, just standing, not moving. I watched for maybe 10 minutes. They didn't shift, didn't blink. The way they were facing, it was like they knew I was watching. And then, this is the part that keeps replaying. They tilted their head, like a dog hearing something strange. Just a slight tilt. Then they turned and walked back into the dark. I don't know how long I stood there at the window. Could have been minutes. Could have been an hour. I tried the shortwave again around 7:40. Nothing solid. But there was a brief crackle from the northeast band. A woman's voice. Half a sentence. Something like, "They tore through the fence," and then static. I marked it. 4.909 megahertz. I'll listen again later. Maybe they'll try again. I've started dreaming again. Bad dreams. Ones where I'm outside the station, walking through a town that doesn't look like Riverton anymore. The buildings are all wrong. Too tall. Leaning in strange directions. No doors, just windows full of fog, and people behind them. Staring. No faces, just pale, smudged shapes. In the dream, I knock. I beg to be let in, and they just watch. When I wake up, I always have the same thought. What if that's not a dream? What if that's somewhere real? I used to believe that every crisis had a pattern, that panic followed rules. First the denial, then the hoarding, then the collapse. But this one didn't start with denial. It started with silence. Nobody said anything. The world just quietly slipped under. And now I think we're the only ones left to say anything at all. I've been thinking about time differently. Days don't feel like days anymore. No sunrise, no clear dusk. Just this flat gray bleed from 1 hour into the next. You stop measuring in hours. You measure in noise, in visits, in scratches, in how long the light stays on before it flickers. If I leave tomorrow, I'll have to decide what to take. The radio comes first, then the knife, then the map. I'll bring a small flashlight, a poncho, and 1 can of food. I don't plan on being gone long, but you never do, right? I'll leave the broadcast running. I've set it to loop the last hour in case I don't come back right away. If you tune in and it's my voice on repeat, don't panic. It just means I'm out trying to make sure there's still a world beyond these walls. And if I don't come back, well, then at least I left something behind. Words anyway. If anyone's still out there, try to broadcast at 8:30. Use any band you can. Even static is better than silence. I'll be listening. We're not gone yet. I'll hold the mic open as long as I can. It's 8:30. I didn't leave. I sat by the door for nearly 10 minutes with the bag on my back, my boots laced, the generator on idle just in case something went wrong while I was gone. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't make myself turn that handle. It's not fear, exactly. It's something worse. It's the feeling that as soon as I open that door, I'll stop being me. That the moment I step into that air, whatever I've been clinging to, my name, my voice, this broadcast, it'll just blow away like ash. I heard movement out there. That's what stopped me. Just as I reached for the latch, there was this soft crunch, like boots on gravel, but slower, unnatural, and I realized something. The birds are gone. Not just quiet, gone. Not a wing beat, not a caw, not even feathers on the ground. Like they knew before we did. Like they left before the sky changed. I shut the bolt again, slid the metal bar back into place, sat down, tried to steady my hands. The flashlight on the wall blinked once, then again. I know what you're thinking. Power surge. Maybe the battery's dying. But it wasn't that. The flashlight isn't connected to anything. It was on the hook, not switched on. It blinked like something passed in front of it, like something was close enough to trip its motion sensor. But I didn't hear the door, didn't hear the steps. Just one blink, then another, then nothing. I took the batteries out and smashed the thing with a hammer. I couldn't take it. That little green light in the dark, flashing like a heartbeat. I've been listening to old recordings, not music, voice logs, interviews I did with locals years ago when the station had a community program. Farmers, teachers, the night janitor from the county courthouse. There's something strange about hearing voices from before all this, even when they're just talking about weather, or feed prices, or 4th of July parades. There's warmth in those words, even when they didn't know they were saying anything important. I envy them. I envy how simple their fears were. A dry season, a lost calf, a broken truck. Nobody ever sat down and said, "What would you do if the dead stood up?" Nobody planned for that. How could they? I haven't slept more than 2 hours in the last 2 nights. Not full sleep. Not the kind where you dream. Just short drops into something blank, then snapping awake with your heart hammering and your lungs full of fog. I've started writing the time down every time I wake. The gaps are getting shorter. I don't think it's just me. I think something in the air is affecting sleep. Maybe not the infection itself. Maybe just the weight of it. The way it presses down. The way it feels like the whole world is being smothered under wet cloth. I keep picturing the people who didn't make it to shelter. Those caught on highways when the lights went out. Those in hospitals. Those locked in prisons. Nobody talks about them, but they're out there. They're walking now, or something is, wearing what's left of them. I saw one up close this morning, no more than 20 feet from the west window. Woman, long coat, torn at the sleeve, no shoes. Her left foot was dragging, ankle bent like it didn't matter. Her eyes were cloudy but open. Her mouth hung slack, jaw twitching every few seconds, like she was trying to speak but forgot how. She walked slowly past the fire truck, stopped, and turned to face the station. I didn't move. I couldn't. We stared at each other for what felt like minutes. Then she tilted her head, not like curiosity, like hunger, like a recognition that didn't require language. And then she turned and walked on. I didn't breathe until she was gone. I marked her path on the map. She was heading southeast, toward the school. God help us if there were still kids in there. I haven't found any food in 2 days. My last can went yesterday morning. I've been melting snow off the roof with a pot and some plastic sheeting. It tastes like rust, but it's wet. I've lost maybe 10 pounds since this started. Doesn't matter. What matters is clarity. I still remember my name, my parents, my brother. I still remember the name of the waitress who always brought me coffee at the diner. Renee. She had a birthmark just below her collarbone shaped like a comma. She hated it. Said it made her feel like a sentence that never ended. I wonder if she's still out there. If you're listening, Renee, if you're alive, this is Tom. I'm still here, the firehouse station. I remember your voice. I remember your laugh when you poured too much sugar in my mug just to mess with me. I remember you. That's how we survive this. Not just with food, not just with locked doors, but with memory, with names, with details so small that the world could never replicate them. They can mimic us. I know that now. But they can't fake what we carry. They can't fake what matters. So if you're hearing this, remember someone. Right now. Say their name out loud, even if you're alone. Say it into the dark, into the fog, into the silence. Let it echo. Let it remind you that you're not just surviving, you're still human. That matters more than anything. I'll be back at 9. If the doors hold, if the air doesn't thicken again. Stay alert. Stay awake. And if the voices come at night, don't speak back. It's 9. The lights flickered again, twice in the last 10 minutes. Not from the generator sputtering. That's still running. No. This was different. Like something else was pulling on the system, draining it, interfering with the signal. I checked the wiring, the board, even opened up the fuse box. Nothing's burned. Nothing's hot. But I swear I felt a buzz in the floor, like the building itself was vibrating just beneath the threshold of sound. There's something wrong with the earth. It's not just what's out there, it's what's underneath. I've felt it for a while now, in my teeth, behind my eyes, like the ground's humming with something alive, something old. Maybe it's the virus. Maybe it's something worse. I don't know. But I know it's getting stronger. I haven't seen the woman again. The one in the coat. I keep expecting her to come back, to circle around and test the walls, to scratch at the doors like the others. But there's been nothing. Just her footprints in the snow, fading under the frost. I stared at them for a long time this morning. They weren't erratic. They weren't rushed, just calm, deliberate steps. Like she knew exactly where she was going. It's that calm that gets to me. They're not frenzied, not wild. That's what the movies always got wrong. These things don't chase. They wait. They listen. They learn. And they know when to move. There's been no sun all day. Not even a glow behind the clouds. Just this thick, oppressive gray. My skin feels cold even under 2 layers. I've started losing feeling in my fingers. I keep them wrapped when I'm not on the mic, but it's not helping. The heat from the generator's not reaching the far end of the room anymore. I've moved the cot closer to the broadcast desk, taped up the vents, piled blankets against the seams of the door. I don't know how much longer I can stay here. I heard something again near the back entrance. A low groan. Not a voice. Not a machine. Just this long, breathless moan that seemed to echo inside my own chest, like it wasn't being heard with my ears, like I was feeling it through the walls. I didn't answer. I'm not sure that matters anymore. I think they already know I'm here. There used to be a man named Henry, who ran a repair shop down on Sheridan Avenue. He was the kind of guy who could take apart a radio with his eyes closed and put it back together better than it started. He told me once, during a bad thunderstorm, that he believed all machines have a kind of memory, that wires remember the currents that pass through them, that they carry echoes. I didn't believe him. I thought it was nonsense. But now I wonder. Sometimes I sit here at the board and I hear faint voices under the static. Not real ones. Not ones I can trace. Just little blips. Cracks. Half syllables. Like someone left a message in the wiring. And sometimes I think it's me. Not present me. Not now. But some version of me. Looping back. Trying to leave breadcrumbs. Trying to say, this happened. This is happening. I've started coughing. Just a little. I don't think I'm infected. I don't feel feverish. But there's something thick in my chest. I tried steaming water in a pan and breathing in the vapor. It helped a little. The problem isn't just what's inside. It's what's not. There's no fresh air. Not really. Not anymore. The filters I've been using are old. Dusty. I'm running them through a coffee strainer now, soaking them in vinegar. It's probably useless. But doing something, anything, keeps me from going still. Stillness is the enemy. I tried reaching out again on the CB band. Nothing. No truckers, no dispatchers, no ghost towns crackling back. Just dead air. The longer this goes on, the more I start to think that whatever was supposed to save us, whoever was supposed to respond, never got the chance. Maybe the infection started higher up than we thought. Maybe the people in charge were the first to go. Or maybe they locked themselves away and turned off the lights on the rest of us. If that's true, I hope they're listening now. I hope they hear me. I hope they know we remember. Not just the fear, not just the hunger, but the sound of a world before this, the feeling of warm hands, of music in the air, of walking into a diner and hearing someone say your name without dread. They can take our systems, they can take our routines, but they can't take memory, not unless we let them. I'm holding on to names. That's what I do now. Every hour I write down the names of people I knew, people I met, even just once. The guy who sold me gas near Rollins, the girl at the library with the crooked glasses, my 8th grade teacher who always smelled like peppermint. I write their names down in a notebook, over and over, so that they existed, so that something still does. If you're out there, if you've got a pencil or a rock or just your voice, do the same. Say the names, write them in dirt, whisper them in empty rooms. Don't let them vanish. I'll be back at 10. If the walls hold, if my voice does. And if not, I'll leave the signal open. You'll know it's me by the sound of the air just before the static. Stay warm. Stay small. Don't be seen. It's 10. The generator cut out for a few minutes about 15 minutes ago. The fuel line's starting to clog, I think. Or maybe the filter's just done. I pulled it apart and flushed what I could with some of the last clean water I had. Got it humming again, but it doesn't sound right. It's slower, throatier, like an old man clearing his lungs every few minutes. If it dies for good, I'm not sure what happens next. Maybe nothing. Maybe I sit here in the dark and keep whispering to myself until the cold finishes what the silence started. It's getting harder to remember what day it is. I stopped marking the calendar 2 days ago when I realized I didn't trust it anymore. Time feels bent, stretched out and thin in some places, doubled up and snarled in others. Like I'll blink and it'll be night again, even though I haven't seen real sun in what feels like forever. I spent the last hour pacing the upstairs hallway, just back and forth, boots thudding against the same 6 cracked tiles. Not looking for anything, just moving, just proving I still could. Every step echoed different. That's what got to me. Same floor, same shoes, same weight. But the sound changed, like something underneath had shifted, like the space had warped just enough to remind me it could. I opened one of the fire cabinets today. Thought maybe there'd be a ration bar or some old supplies tucked in the back. Found a child's jacket instead. Pink, with one sleeve torn off and a name tag pinned just inside the collar. Josie. I sat down with it in my lap for 20 minutes before I could move again, wondering if she ever made it out, if someone came back for her, if she was one of the shadows I saw in the fog 2 nights ago. I folded it and put it in my pack, not because I thought it would be useful, but because someone should remember her. There are marks on the southern wall now, long smears of ash or soot or blood. I can't tell. They weren't there yesterday. I check that wall every morning. They're streaked downward, like fingers dragging across the surface. But the wall's 10 feet high. There's no way someone could have reached that high from the outside. Not unless they climbed, or unless they were tall enough to just press their hand against it. I don't like thinking about that, about something tall enough to leave marks that high. I've been having this dream, or maybe it's not a dream. Maybe it's just something my brain invented to explain what's happening. I'm standing in a field, chest deep in snow, and I can hear the hum of a city far off, even though there are no lights, just this low, droning sound. and there are figures lined up along the edge of the field. Dozens, maybe hundreds, all of them facing away from me, still. Heads tilted up, like they're waiting for something in the sky. I try to call out, but my voice doesn't work. Then one of them turns around. And it's me. Not a copy. Not a mirror. Just me. Hollowed out. Eyes like wet paper. Mouth open, but no voice. And when I wake up, I can still feel the cold in my skin. I haven't told anyone that before, but I guess you're all I've got now. There's a crack forming in the ceiling near the emergency exit hatch. I noticed it this morning and marked it with tape. It's wider now, a hairline fracture in the concrete. Nothing's leaking, but I keep imagining fingers pushing through. Not all at once, just one at a time. Quiet. Patient. I keep thinking about how this all started. Not the virus, not the collapse, but the very first feeling. That day the power went out. The birds left. The dogs barked. The phones died. That moment when everyone looked up at the same time and thought, something's wrong. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a scream. It was a quiet slipping of the world out from under us. And we just kept pretending we could walk without a floor. There was this kid named Nate who used to call into the station every Thursday night when I hosted Local Lines, a show for unsigned musicians. He played guitar. Badly. But he was fearless. Called himself the Static Cowboy. He'd send in tapes recorded in his dad's garage, cracked vocals, warbly chords. But every song had the same line in it somewhere. We're still dancing in the dark. I used to laugh at it. Now it's stuck in my head like a prayer. I hope he made it out. I hope he kept playing. I haven't found any more food. The plan to leave tomorrow still stands, but I've stopped telling myself it'll go well. I'll go because I have to, not because it's smart. That's the difference now. Hope's a luxury. Movement is survival. If I don't come back, I've set the station to loop this last hour. There's a red switch beneath the main board. Flip it, and it'll broadcast whatever's left until the batteries give. There's a note taped to the panel. My name. My last known map coordinates. If someone finds it, maybe they'll know I tried. Maybe they'll carry the signal forward. We don't all get to live through history, but we can leave something behind in it. A voice, a name, a record. I'll be back at 11 if the crack doesn't widen, if the steps stay outside, if I'm still me. It's 11. I've been staring at the clock face for 10 minutes, watching the minute hand twitch. It doesn't move smooth anymore. Just little jerks, like it's fighting something. The glass over the face is cracked now. I didn't drop it. I didn't hit it. I woke up from a half sleep, and it was just cracked. Spider-webbed from the center, like something pressed against it hard enough to stress the whole thing. It's just a clock. But it's the last thing in here that still tells time like it matters. The temperature dropped again. I can see my breath when I talk. The metal around the door handles is frosting over. Not from weather. There's no draft. No outside air. This is something else. Like the cold is coming from the walls. Like the concrete is remembering something from deeper underground and trying to tell me. The crack in the ceiling widened. Only a little. Maybe a fingernail's width. But I measured. I know. Something's pressing down from above. There's no snow on the roof, no wind, no pressure system that would cause that. So it has to be weight. Has to be something standing still long enough, heavy enough, for concrete to start bending. I haven't gone up there. I won't. Not unless I have no choice. The scraping came back just after 10:30. this time lower, just above the floorboards. Slow, rhythmic. 5 drags. Pause. 5 more. It made a full circuit of the building. Not fast, not searching, just patient. Like something doing rounds. I sat against the wall with my knife in one hand and the emergency beacon in the other. I didn't turn either on. Just waited. It finished its circuit and faded. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's a game or a map or something marking me. But I'm not imagining it. The fog's thicker than ever now. I opened the south-facing slit window and couldn't see the fire truck 5 feet away. No sound, no birds, no movement. Just white. Not white like snow. White like paper. Like blankness. I stared into it for a while, half expecting to see someone drift through. But nothing came. It was like looking into the space between dreams, empty and full at the same time. I don't think the fog's natural. I don't think it's weather. It's too consistent. Too heavy. It absorbs sound. I dropped a wrench outside and barely heard it hit the ground. It's like being wrapped in wet cloth. Like the whole world is underwater, but no one told us. If this is how the virus spreads, if it rides the fog or lives in it, we never stood a chance. I keep thinking about the things I haven't said. Not to you, to myself. Regrets don't mean much now, but they still crawl in when it gets quiet. I used to spend every birthday alone. Told myself it didn't matter, just a number. But every year I'd still bake myself a cake. Just a cheap mix from the box. Frosting out of a tub. I haven't had sugar in weeks, but I can still taste it when I think about it. That synthetic vanilla. The weird rubbery texture. You ever crave something just for the memory it unlocks? There's a photo taped to the inside of the locker by the back wall. It's not mine. I think it belonged to one of the old crew here. Maybe a firefighter who used to run emergency ops out of this bunker. It's of a woman and a little boy standing next to a blue kiddie pool. The boy's wearing goggles and has one of those inflatable sharks tucked under his arm. The woman's holding a popsicle. You can tell the picture's old, not from the color or the wear, but from the look in their eyes. Nobody takes photos like that anymore. Not since the world started watching itself through a lens. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Maybe it's because I'm tired. Maybe it's because I don't want my last broadcast to just be warnings and fear. Maybe I need to remember that people were here, that we lived, that we had summers and bad jokes and gas station snacks and afternoons where the biggest worry was running out of ice. You have to hold on to those things, because they're not coming back. I tried the shortwave again. Nothing. No voices, no pulses. Just a soft rise and fall of static, like the ocean if it had stopped moving. I scanned every band 3 times. I even tried Morse. Nothing came back. The infected. I've stopped calling them that. Not because it's wrong, but because it feels too sterile. These aren't sick people. They're not patients. They're something else. Something between. Their bodies move, but they don't breathe right. Don't sweat. Don't blink. I've seen 3 now. None of them noticed me. Or maybe they did, and just didn't care. That's almost worse. Like I'm beneath their concern. I keep wondering if they're waiting for something. Not food, not movement. Something bigger. A signal. A change. Like the infection isn't the goal. It's the opening act. And we're just the stage. If I leave tomorrow, I'll do it early. Before light. While it's still half night and half dream. That's when the world feels thinnest. That's when maybe I can slip through. I'll carry a mirror, not for vanity, but because sometimes, when things look back at you through glass, they forget who you are. I don't know if that's true, but I'll try it. If I don't come back, remember this. I tried. I stayed when I didn't have to. I spoke when no one answered. I kept the signal alive because I believed someone might still be out there. And maybe that someone is you. If you're hearing this, don't stop moving. Don't stop remembering. Don't let them take your name. I'll check back in at midnight. If the fog doesn't swallow the door, if the roof stays whole, if my name still means something. It's midnight. The fog hasn't lifted. If anything, it's thicker now, heavier. I went to check the south-facing window again, scraped a hole through the condensation with my sleeve. I couldn't see anything, not even the emergency light I rigged near the outer gate. That thing runs on its own battery loop, and it's supposed to cut through 30 feet of dense air. It's gone now, like it's been swallowed. No glow, no flicker, just blank white where the world used to be. I stood there for a while, waiting for something to move. A shape, a flicker, a sound. Nothing came, but I kept feeling it. Pressure behind my eyes, that tightness in your jaw when something's watching you from somewhere you can't name. I turned away fast, faster than I meant to, and I caught my reflection in the glass. I didn't recognize my own face. Not at first. The beard's come in patchy, the skin's pale, drawn tight across the cheekbones. But it was the eyes that stopped me. They looked wrong, like they weren't mine anymore, like they were borrowed. The station's power's still holding, but barely. The generator sounds worse with every cycle. It stutters now, like it's catching its breath between pulses. I'm burning the last of the backup fuel in the red container. After that, I'll have to decide if I siphon from the fire truck or try to reach the old gas station again. That's assuming the roads are clear. That's assuming they're even real anymore. I saw movement near the east fence just before I came back on air. Not clear movement. Just the fog shifting in a way that didn't match the wind. It parted and then sealed again, like something tall passed through. I didn't go check. I stood in the stairwell with a hammer in one hand and a flashlight in the other. I turned the light off when I realized it was casting shadows that didn't match mine. I can't sleep anymore. Every time I close my eyes, I hear my name. Not shouted, whispered. Right in my ear, like someone's kneeling beside me, speaking it into my skin. It always sounds like someone I knew. Last night it was Ellis, the old waterboard guy. The night before it was my brother. But it's not them. It's not their cadence. It's a version of their voice, stretched thin like tape that's been played too many times. They always say the same thing. Open the door, Tom. It's better out here. I won't. The station's begun to creak. This place was built like a bunker, but the beams shift now like the building is breathing. Slow, wide groans that echo down the stairwell and bounce off the walls. I try not to react. I sit still. I write it down. That's how I fight it. By documenting it. By naming it. You name something, you make it small. That's the rule. That's the old truth, right? Call the thing by its name and it loses power. But what if this thing doesn't have a name? What if that's the whole point? I think about my dad a lot now. He was a quiet man, worked with his hands, had this way of fixing things without ever explaining how. I used to watch him from the hallway when I was a kid, just him at the table, taking apart radios or clocks or small engines. He never looked frustrated, never sighed or cursed, just worked. I used to think he didn't feel fear, but maybe he just learned to live with it. I wish he was here. Or maybe I'm glad he's not. I still haven't eaten. That's 3 meals skipped. My stomach's not even hungry anymore. It's just hollow, like it's been repurposed for something else. I drink when I remember. Melted snow and boiled runoff. I tell myself it's enough, but I know I'm running on fumes. That's not what's keeping me upright. What's keeping me upright is the sound of my own voice. If I stop talking, I stop existing. That's how it feels. There's a smear on the glass by the stairwell now. I didn't put it there. Looks like a handprint, but longer. The fingers drag down too far. 6 ridges, not 5. The pressure's faint, but the smudge is oily, like skin pressed hard enough to leave something behind. I stared at it for a long time before I dared touch the glass. Still warm. That's the part I can't make sense of. The warmth. Everything else is cold, dead, still. But the glass was warm where the hand had been. I haven't heard birds in over a week. I already said that, I know. But the silence keeps deepening. You think you've heard quiet? You haven't. Not until you stand in a sealed room underground. No power, no signal, no movement. And you realize the only sound left is the blood in your ears. That's what I live with now. My own heartbeat, rising and falling in a place where nothing else does. I've been hearing clicks in the walls, not mechanical, organic, like joints cracking, like knuckles popping one by one in the crawl space behind the breaker box. I pulled the panel off to check. Nothing there. No wires disturbed. But the sound keeps returning. A single click. Then silence. Then another. Lower. I think it's speaking. I just don't know the language. I've been writing symbols. I don't know why. I find myself scratching them into the notebook margins over and over. Not letters, not numbers, just shapes, spirals, crosses, slashes that bend in on themselves. I don't remember deciding to draw them. They just appear under my pen. When I notice, I stop, flip the page. But they always come back. Maybe that's how it starts. I'll go tomorrow. I don't have a plan beyond that. Just west. Just walking. Just enough to see if there's anything else still breathing. If not, maybe I keep walking. Or maybe I stop. If anyone's listening, if you've made it this far, I want you to write something down. Anything. Your name, a memory, the last joke you heard. Anything that proves you were here. The world is forgetting us. We don't have to let it win. I'll come back at 1. If the lights stay on, if the fog doesn't learn the stairs, if I still remember the way to the mic. It's 1. Morning, I guess, though it doesn't feel like morning anymore. Just another hour scraped onto the pile. I haven't seen daylight in what must be 2 full days now. I don't know how far this fog reaches. I don't know if it's only here, or if it's settled across the whole country, the whole continent. Maybe it's everywhere now, stretching coast to coast, like a veil, like someone pulled a sheet over the world to smother it slowly. The warmth I felt on the window earlier is gone. The glass is cold again, slick with something thicker than condensation. Not frost, not rain, something in between. Sticky. My fingers smelled metallic after I touched it, like old pennies. I wiped it off and the streak stayed anyway. I tried to sleep, just a nap, curled up on the cot with 2 blankets and my boots still on. Thought maybe I could catch a half hour before the next check-in. Instead, I just laid there, watching the light bulb flicker in the ceiling like it was signaling to something outside. I started counting the flickers. 17. Pause. Then 4. Then 17 again. I wrote it down, of course. I write everything down now. Not because I think it matters to anyone else, but because I'm afraid that if I don't, it'll all just fade. The walls are closing in. I know that sounds dramatic, but I don't mean it metaphorically. I mean it literally. I measured the space between the shelves on the far wall yesterday. This morning it's a 1/4 inch tighter. Not from shifting, not from damage. Just closer. I haven't said this out loud yet, but I think the building is changing. I think the space inside this station is bending, pulling in. Not fast, not obvious, but slowly, like it's drawing breath, like something underneath is stretching its arms. I walked from the stairwell to the transmitter desk 20 times last night. It takes 12 steps. Always did. This morning, it took 13. I'm not imagining that. The air tastes different too. The dust has a weight now, like it clings to the roof of your mouth. It smells like burned plastic and wet leaves. I can feel it settling in my throat. I haven't coughed blood. Not yet. But it's coming. I can tell. There's a tightness behind my ribs that doesn't go away anymore. Every breath feels like it's borrowed. I almost turned off the mic tonight. I sat here with my finger on the switch, staring at the red indicator light. One push, and it would have gone silent. No more talking. No more narrating the end. Just me in the dark and whatever's waiting in the stairwell. But I didn't. Not because I'm strong. Not because I think this matters. Because I was afraid if I turned it off, I wouldn't find the courage to turn it back on. There was something outside the north door about an hour ago. Not footsteps, not voices. Breathing. Deep. Wet. Rhythmic. Like a bellows dragging through mud. I turned off the interior light and waited behind the steel cabinet with my knife drawn. Not that it would do much. The breathing didn't move. Just stayed there. Steady. Like it was practicing. Like it knew I was listening. Then it stopped. Not faded. Not walked away. Just stopped. Like the lungs shut off. That's worse. I opened the door later. Just a crack. There was nothing there. No footprints. No frost disturbed. But the air smelled like something had been watching. You ever get that feeling? Like the room you're in still holds the shape of whoever left it? Like the shadow lingers, even if the body's gone? That's what it felt like. I tried the AM band again, full sweep. Picked up something faint around 9:30. Thought it might be a survivor. Turned up the volume. It wasn't a voice. It was a loop. A sound clip repeating every 10 seconds. 3 tones. Then a whisper. Couldn't make out the words. Just the rhythm. It's still playing now. Like a lighthouse signal on a broken planet. I'm recording it. Maybe I'll play it for you next hour, if I can bear to hear it again. I keep the lights dim now. Just the little desk lamp and the power indicators. Anything brighter and I feel like I'm drawing attention. Like the building glows in the fog and calls to whatever's walking out there. I saw another shape at the edge of the parking lot. This one was crawling. Arms bent the wrong way. Knees dragging like it didn't remember how to stand. It didn't make a sound. Just scraped itself across the ground and vanished behind the old maintenance shed. I waited. It never came out. I haven't gone to look. I won't. There's a smell in the station now. Sour. Like spoiled meat left in the sun. I checked every corner, every vent. Nothing. No source. But it gets stronger when I get close to the southern wall. I pressed my ear to it earlier. Nothing. Just stone. but my skin prickled like something was humming on the other side. I'm losing the ability to tell what's real, but I'm still here, still awake, still talking. That has to count for something. If anyone's hearing this, if you're out there, write to me. Not literally. Just send your voice into the dark. Let me know I'm not the last one. Whisper your own name into a jar. Etch it into a desk. Say it to the sky. Do anything. Just don't let yourself vanish without a sound. I'll be back at 2. If the steps don't return. If the breathing stays gone. If the walls don't finally close. It's 2. I haven't moved from this chair in over an hour. Not because I'm tired, though I am, but because every time I stand, I get the feeling the floor won't be there when I put my foot down. That's not poetic. I mean it. Like I'll step and just fall through. Like something is waiting just beneath the concrete, patient and soft and wide-mouthed. The generator coughed again, twice. The second time the lights dimmed, and I thought the whole thing was going to give. I sat here in the dark, staring at the reflection of the exit sign in the window, counting the seconds between each flicker. 5 seconds, then 7, then nothing. Then it came back. I don't trust it anymore. I don't trust anything that hums. I wrapped the mirror in a cloth and stuffed it into my pack. I couldn't look at it anymore. My face, my eyes, don't look like mine. The color's wrong. The skin around them is dark, swollen, like bruises forming from the inside. There's something in me, maybe. I don't know. If it is, it's slow, quiet, but it's there, curling around my spine like smoke. I still haven't eaten. I passed the storage shelf 3 times and didn't even look. There's nothing on it but a few rubber bands, an empty can of beans, and a stack of old batteries that may as well be stones. I'm not hungry anymore. I just feel hollow. Like someone took the hunger away and replaced it with something colder, something patient. The fog hasn't moved. I don't think it's weather anymore. I think it's alive. I think it's watching. Earlier, I held my hand out the window, just the fingers. The air felt thick, not damp, not cold, thick, like breathing through gauze. I pulled it back in and waited. My fingers tingled for 15 minutes afterward, like they'd fallen asleep. The skin looked pale, gray around the nails. It passed, I think, but I've been flexing my hands ever since, just to make sure they still feel like mine. I keep hearing whispers, not through the walls, not in my head, in the signal. When I sweep the frequencies, there are these patches of static that suddenly thin, and in that thinning, just for a second, I hear something. A name. Not always mine. Sometimes someone else's. Maria. Ellis. Renee. The static cowboy. Then it's gone. Like the static was chewing through memory and got lazy for a second. Let a piece fall out. Is that what this is? A machine grinding through the living world, one memory at a time? I've stopped checking the doors. I bolted them tight and shoved everything I could find in front of them. Chairs, filing cabinets, sandbags, an old mattress I found in the upper dorms. I don't think it'll help. If something wants in badly enough, it'll get in. I'm just buying moments now. I don't sleep anymore. I drift. Close my eyes for 20 minutes at a time and float through half-dreams filled with whispering light and faces that bleed when they smile. I wake up with a buzzing in my ears, like a radio tuned to nothing, I think I'm breaking. I say that without fear. It's just an observation, like noting the weather. I think my mind is folding at the edges, but I'm still here, still speaking. That's how I know I'm not gone yet. I tried playing music earlier. Just one of the old tapes we kept in the desk drawer. A folk song. Scratchy. Off-key. The voice wavered like the machine didn't want to remember how to play it. I let it run for 30 seconds before I pulled the plug. It felt wrong, like I was playing a lullaby to a sleeping monster. I miss the sound of wind. I miss gravel under tires. I miss the creak of porch swings and the way dogs bark when you walk by a fence. You don't notice those things until the world forgets them. The fog doesn't just take visibility. It takes sound, space, presence, even time. The last time I looked at the watch, it said 1:43. Then I looked again, and it said 1:36. I don't know how that happens. Maybe the battery slipped. Maybe I looked wrong, but the air felt heavier after that, like something had been rewound. I don't trust time anymore. I don't trust myself. But I still trust this mic, this voice, this signal. If you're listening, if this is reaching anyone, I want you to know I'm not giving up. Not yet. Not until the last wire burns. Not until the last breath rattles in my throat. I'll be back at 3. If the fog doesn't learn my voice, if the light stays on, if I still remember what a sunrise feels like. It's 3. The fog just pressed against the window. I don't know how else to say it. It didn't swirl. It didn't drift. It pressed. I was standing near the narrow glass pane on the north side, and the fog bulged inward, like a slow-moving tide trying to remember how to push. I couldn't see anything in it, no figures, no light, but it felt heavy, like it was testing the seal, like it was learning the shape of the room from the outside. The glass didn't break. It didn't even crack, but after it retreated, there was a handprint. I swear it, clear as day. 5 long fingers, longer than any human's. Thumb set too low, not smeared, not clumsy. Just one clean print. It evaporated after maybe 10 seconds, like the fog licked it away. I haven't moved since. I'm still sitting here, cold cup of water in one hand, the other gripping the edge of the desk, like I'm afraid it'll vanish if I blink. I can hear something above the ceiling tiles now. Not footsteps. Dragging. Like bare limbs sliding over metal supports. I checked the ladder to the attic access 3 hours ago. It's locked from this side. Chained. I hung a bell on it just in case. A little brass one I found in the supply closet. I haven't heard it ring. Not yet. I got a signal on the ham band at 2:47. Very faint. A woman's voice. Maybe 30, maybe older. She was crying but not scared. Just tired. Her voice cracked halfway through a sentence. If there's anyone listening, I can see them through the trees now. Then silence. Not a scream. Not static. Just gone. Like someone unplugged her from the world. I sat here for a full minute after that with my hand over my mouth. I don't know why. Maybe I was afraid of making a sound. Maybe I thought the fog would hear me reacting. I used to think the infected were like animals, mindless, driven by some guttural need. But that's not what I've seen. They're patient. They move slow, deliberate. They don't panic. They don't flinch at light. They don't chase. They just find you. And once they do, they wait. They don't need to break down the doors. They let the silence wear you out. They let the hunger do the work. I looked through the notebook earlier, the one I've been keeping since the start. I flipped through the early entries. My handwriting was tight then, controlled. Now it's barely legible. My hand shakes when I write. I have to brace my wrist against the desk just to form a straight line. Even then, the letters slant. The loops are too big. The dots scatter. I'm changing. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to talk like this. Clear. Steady. Human. But I'm still here. The water in the bottle smells wrong. I boiled it twice. Filtered it. Let it sit. Still smells like old copper and dirt. I drank it anyway. What choice do I have? I think the filtration system in the lower basin is clogged. The pump wheezes every time it pulls. Sounds like it's choking. I'm afraid to open it. I don't want to see what's in the mesh. There's a humming now. Low. Not from the generator. Lower than that. Subsonic. Like it's coming from the ground. It's not steady. It pulses. Every 15 seconds. Almost like a heartbeat. I pressed my ear to the floor. I swear I could feel it under my cheek. I don't know what's beneath this building. Just dirt, I thought. Rock. Maybe old pipes. But something's moving down there. Something vast. Slow. Like tectonic plates shifting under skin. I started counting the things I remember from before. From the world that made sense. French toast. Wind through an open car window. The way dogs kick when they dream. The smell of new books. Plastic covers on library copies. The weight of loose change in a cup holder. Holding hands in movie theaters. Hearing your name called at the DMV. It's stupid. I know. But that's how I keep myself from floating away. I write them down. One line per page. Like little anchors. This station used to feel big. Wide halls, high ceilings. Now it feels like a coffin. The walls curve inward when I'm not looking. The air thickens when I breathe too loud. I haven't seen a clock in hours that still ticks properly. The hands are stuck. Or they run backward. Or they jump. I think time's giving up on this place. Or maybe time just doesn't want to watch anymore. I keep thinking about the voice I heard earlier. The woman. The trees. I keep wondering how close they got. How long she watched them before she said those words. I wonder if she was alone. If she left a window open. If she thought she could outrun them. We all do. At first. If you're listening, if you're alive, I want you to do something. Go to your window. Just once. Look out. Don't open it. Just look. Take a breath. Feel the shape of your space. Then close the curtain. Not because there's something to see, but because it's still your window. Still your breath. Still your choice. That matters. Even now. I'll check back in at 4. If the bell stays silent. If the breath behind the glass doesn't fog it over again. If my voice still sounds like mine when I hear it. It's 4. I almost didn't make it back on. Something tried the west door. Not a knock. Not pounding. Just pressure. Slow. Constant. Like someone leaning their full weight into the frame and waiting for it to give. The hinges groaned. The bolts held. But the sound. I'll never forget the sound. Not the metal. Not the wood. The breathing. Right on the other side. Deep, wet, and slow. No rush. No panic. Just patience. It was as calm as someone watching rain from a porch. That's what got to me. Not that it was trying to get in. That it wasn't in a hurry. I turned off every light. Sat in the dark with my back against the desk, knife in my lap, radio on low. I didn't dare breathe. I listened to the woods stretch and the breath come and go, and I thought, this is how it ends. Not with screaming, not with a fight, just slow pressure until the wall gives. But it didn't. Eventually it stopped. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe longer. It left no marks, no dents, no scratches. Just that same cold in the air and a smell like wet dirt. I didn't move for another 20 minutes. I just waited, crouched on the floor, trying to remind myself where I was, what I was, trying not to forget my name. Tom. My name is Tom Whitmore. I'm still here. I don't know how much longer this place can hold. The generator's down to fumes. The backup's dry. I've been siphoning every ounce I can find from emergency gear. Space heaters, lanterns, that busted ATV in the storage bay. Every drop counts now. I can keep the signal running a little longer. After that, I don't know. The map's useless now. Every marker I placed, smoke, movement, sound, they've all gone silent. No new signals, no new voices, just gaps where people used to be. I think I'm the last broadcaster still transmitting. The loops are gone. The relays are dead. The emergency bands have collapsed into static. I can't tell if the world is still out there, or if it's just me. I keep seeing the woman from the field, the one who turned to look at the station. She's not real. I know that. But she shows up in my mind every time I close my eyes. Same coat, same broken walk, same tilt of the head like she's listening to something far away. I dream that she stands outside the glass, mouth moving. I can't hear her. I wake up sweating, cold, throat dry. It's not fear anymore. It's recognition. Like I've seen her before, or I will. I'm not well. That's not news. But the line between real and not is getting thinner. I know it. I still feel like me, mostly, but there's a pressure behind my eyes that never fades now. I forget words sometimes. Simple ones. Door, fire, clock. I find myself reaching for them and they're just gone. I've started recording everything, not just the broadcasts. I mean everything. The sound of my boots on the tile, the creak of the chair, the scrape of the knife on metal, my own breathing. I record it and then I play it back, just to make sure I still sound human, just to make sure I still am. I found a bird feather in the stairwell, brown and white, clean, dry, no blood, no sign of the bird, just the feather, curled against the wall like it had been placed there. It wasn't there yesterday. I haven't seen a bird in over a week. I don't know how it got in, but I sat with it in my hand for 15 minutes and didn't speak, didn't move, just stared at it like it was a miracle. Maybe it was. The fog hasn't lifted. If anything, it's denser now. I can't see the end of the truck anymore. Just the front bumper blurred in white. Everything beyond looks like a painting that was wiped away. I keep thinking about sound, how it used to move, how it would bounce off buildings, echo down streets, carry laughter or music or arguments through open windows. Now it just sinks. The sound here doesn't travel. It falls, like throwing a rock into wet cement. You speak, and it disappears before it hits the wall. That's why I keep the radio on, because this signal is the only thing that still moves. That's what matters. Movement. If you stop moving, you stop mattering. I've got the door barricaded again. Everything I could find. I know it won't stop them. I know they're not like us. But it's a ritual now. It's a way to say I'm still trying. If you're still out there, if any of you are still out there, I want you to write something. Anything. It doesn't have to be a journal. Doesn't have to be poetic. Just a word. Carve it into wood. Chalk it onto brick. Draw it in the dust. Let the world know you passed through. Let it know you didn't go quiet. If they take everything else from us, don't let them take our trace. I'll be back at 5. If the wall holds, if the signal keeps humming, if I still sound like myself when I play this back. It's 5. I woke up on the floor. I didn't mean to sleep. I wasn't even tired. I was sitting at the mic, talking. I think I was talking. And then I blinked, and I was on my side near the southern wall with dust in my mouth and my cheek pressed against the cold concrete. My recorder was still running. The mic light was off. The generator must have cut while I was out. I don't remember it dying. I don't remember the sound fading. That's what scares me. Not that I passed out, but that the silence didn't wake me. I played the tape back. There's a 2-minute gap where I should have been speaking. The hum of the room goes flat. Then, just once, you hear a sound. A single whisper, right against the mic. No words, just breath, close and wet and steady, like someone leaned in after I fell and exhaled right where I should have been. I didn't imagine that. I don't think I slept at all last night. I think I've been falling in and out of something else. Not sleep. Something colder. Something heavier. Like the fog's getting into my thoughts now, making me drift. I've started forgetting what I've said. I listen to my own words, and they sound like someone else. Like I'm playing back old broadcasts from a different man. I scratched my arm earlier, and a layer of skin came off in flakes. Not bloody, just dry, pale, like ash. I keep touching the same spot now, just to check. It doesn't hurt. That's the part that gets me. It should, but it doesn't. The air inside is thin. I opened the vent for 5 minutes and tried to let fresh air in. All I got was more of the fog. It doesn't act like smoke. It doesn't rise or fall. It creeps. Slides through cracks like it knows where they are. It touched my face, and I felt it sting the edge of my eyes. Not like acid, like cold metal. I shut the vent, sealed it with tape, but it's already in here. I know that now. There's no keeping it out. The clock stopped ticking again, just froze at 4:12 and hasn't moved since. I tapped it. Nothing. Then, 10 minutes later, it jumped to 4:58. No seconds. Just the hand, leaping ahead like the gap between moments doesn't exist anymore. There was a knock. Just once. No follow-up. Not loud. It came from the inside stairwell. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I didn't answer. And I'm not going to. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I don't feel it. My stomach doesn't growl. My head doesn't spin. It's like the hunger left. Like that part of me is gone now. I drink when I remember. The water's down to a few ounces. It smells like stone, like old coins left out in the rain. I sip it, and it tastes gray. The voices in the signal are changing. They don't speak anymore. Not words, just tones, just cadence. You ever listen to someone's breath and realize it's forming a rhythm? That's what I hear now. On every channel, a rhythm of something breathing across frequencies. Inhale. Pause. Inhale again. Like the airwaves are alive. I haven't heard another human voice in 2 days. Not since the woman on the shortwave. The one with the trees. Sometimes I think about her final words and wonder if she meant literal trees, or if she was describing something else. Figures, limbs, tall branching things moving in silence. Watching. I found a notebook I don't remember writing in. My handwriting, but not my words. Just a list. 50 names, first names only. Some I recognize, most I don't. The last 5 are repeated over and over. Tom, written again and again in descending loops. The final entry is, not Tom. I don't remember writing that. But it's in my hand. I want to leave this building. I know staying here is only prolonging something that's already inside me. But every time I put my hand on the doorknob, I hear her. The woman from the field. The one with the long coat and the slow walk. Her voice, right behind my shoulder. Calm. Patient. Just saying one thing. You're almost done. I don't know what that means. I don't want to know, but I believe her. There's a mirror here I haven't touched in days. I've got it covered with a blanket now. I don't need to see what's changing. My voice tells me enough. I can hear the weakness in it, the fade, the way I pause to find words I used to know. I'm unraveling, but I'm still here. Still Tom. Still on the air. And if this is the last hour I get, I want it to be a human one. I remember the smell of wet asphalt after a summer storm, the hiss of sprinklers on a July morning, the warmth of coffee from a chipped mug in a roadside diner. I remember the sound my father made when he laughed without meaning to, the thump of boots on porch steps, the rattle of screen doors in the wind. I remember everything they can't. And that's how I know I'm still me. I'll be back at 6. If my voice still holds. If the fog doesn't teach the door how to breathe. If I can still count the seconds between heartbeats. Stay alive. Or at least, stay remembered. It's 6. I don't think there's anyone left listening. Maybe there never was. Maybe I've been speaking to dead wires and empty frequencies since the second day. Maybe this whole signal is just bouncing off the sky, looping back into itself like a ghost trying to haunt a house that doesn't exist anymore. But I'm still talking. I'm still here. The fog is inside now. It came through the vents. I thought I sealed them all, taped every edge, plugged the gaps with cloth. But I found a patch of it pooling in the northeast corner of the room, coiling low like smoke from something too cold to burn. I shined my light on it and it didn't react. It just sat there, drifting like breath. I didn't try to touch it. I just stared at it. And it stared back. It doesn't need eyes. It doesn't need shape. But it sees. I know it does. I shut off the light and walked away. I don't have much time left. The generator sputtered out 20 minutes ago. I've been running off residual battery power since then. The broadcast is weak. You're probably hearing more static than voice by now. I can feel the signal strain in the cables under the desk, like it's being pulled apart. I took down the mirror, looked one last time. My face is thin, the skin tight around the jaw, the eyes too dark. My lips have cracks that don't bleed anymore. I look like something that was supposed to die and didn't finish the job. But I'm still me. I'm still Tom Whitmore. And this is still Station 1160 AM. The last thing you'll hear before the fog eats the sky. I don't know what's waiting outside. I don't care anymore. Maybe it's worse than I imagined. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's just snow and cold and an empty road with nothing on it for 100 miles. But I'm going to open the door. Not because I want to run. Not because I want to find help. But because I want to know if the world still has edges. I want to feel the wind one last time, even if it burns. There's a hallway I haven't walked down in days. The North Corridor. It smells like rot now. Like something old curled up in the pipes and decided to sleep forever. but I'm going to walk through it. All the way to the last door, the one with the rusted hinges and the cracked exit sign, the one I've been avoiding. I have to know what's behind it. Even if it's nothing. Even if it's me. If you're hearing this, I want you to remember something. The world didn't end with fire. It didn't fall with a scream or a siren. It slipped. It faded. It let itself be forgotten. But we were here. We lived. We ate bad diner food and drove too fast on empty roads. We watched dumb movies and kissed people we loved and worked jobs we hated and made jokes that didn't matter. We listened to music in our cars and we argued with strangers online and we thought tomorrow was something we could count on. We were so stupid, so stubborn, so alive. Don't let them have that. Don't let whatever this is, this fog, this virus, this silence, don't let it erase us. Say your name. Say someone else's. Write it down. Carve it into something. Be loud. Even if only for a second. Be loud. Because when the last voice goes quiet, the fog wins. I'm going now. The door's open. I can smell pine trees. I can hear the dirt crunch. Maybe that's hope, or maybe it's just the end. Either way, this was Tom, and I was here. It's later. I don't know what hour. The watch is gone. The battery in the backup recorder drained out mid-sentence. Everything else is dead. The lights, the signal, the clock. Even the ticking in my own head feels slower, like time itself is finally exhaling after holding its breath too long. But I'm still here. I left the station. I opened the door. Walked out into the fog. I thought it would swallow me. I thought I'd step through and disappear. But it didn't. It parted. Just slightly. Enough for one man to pass. It was cold. Real cold. Not just air temperature. Cold in a way that felt like it had been waiting. The kind of cold that knows your name. It touched my neck, slid under the collar of my coat, and settled in my spine like a second voice whispering, "Don't run." I didn't. I walked. I don't know how far. Distance doesn't work right out here. I passed the fire truck, then the edge of the gravel lot, then the line of bare cottonwoods that used to mark the back of the property. Everything after that just blurred. Road signs, pavement, the husk of a bus, half buried in frost. It all felt like walking through a memory that didn't belong to me. I found footprints in the snow. Fresh ones, not mine. Bare feet. Wide spacing, like a limp. I followed them, not because it was smart, not because I had a plan, just because I couldn't not. They led me to the edge of the bridge near Red Cliffs. The railings were gone, twisted like something massive had gripped them and pulled. The snow was streaked, not blood, not dirt, just wrong. Like something warm had passed over it and melted it in long, thin trails. I stood there for a long time. That's when I saw her, the woman in the coat. Same one, same broken walk. She was standing at the far end of the bridge, fog behind her like a wall. Her hair was matted to her face. Her hands hung limp at her sides. I couldn't see her eyes, not clearly, but I didn't need to. I knew she saw me. She didn't speak. She didn't move. Just watched. Then she raised her hand. Not a wave. Not a signal. Just lifted it, like someone remembering how. And in that moment, I felt something behind me. Close, right behind me. A breath that wasn't mine. I turned fast, but there was nothing there. When I looked back, she was gone. No footsteps, no disturbance in the snow, just an empty bridge and fog curling over the edge like it never left. I don't know what she is, or what they are, but they know us. They know how we move, how we speak, how we think. I walked back in silence. No flashlight, no sound, just my boots sinking into the snow and the feeling that something was walking beside me the whole time. I made it back to the station, or something like it. The door was open, not broken, not forced, just open, like it was waiting. Inside, everything was where I left it. The desk, the chair, the microphone. But the walls are wrong, closer, curved, breathing. The air smells like dirt and rust and old sweat. The cot's missing, the mirror's shattered, and there's something drawn on the far wall, scratched deep into the cinder block with something sharp. A symbol, a spiral, looping in on itself. Surrounded by 5 dots. I've seen it before. In the margins of my notebook. In my dreams. I think it's their mark. Or maybe mine. I don't remember drawing it, but I understand it. It means you stayed too long. I'm speaking now with a hand crank recorder. No power, no backup. Just muscle and hope. I'll play this back when I finish. See if the voice is still mine. I don't know what's left to say. The world isn't coming back. Not the way it was. Whatever this is, this fog, this virus, this thing crawling beneath our skin, it doesn't want to burn the world. It wants to wear it, one person at a time. It doesn't need armies. It just needs silence, vacancy, forgetfulness. It wants us to forget who we are so it can show us what we were never meant to become. I'm leaving again. For real this time. I won't return to this station. I'll keep walking. I'll keep recording. I'll bury this tape if I have to. Or toss it into a mailbox with no address. Somebody will find it. Somebody always does. This was Tom Whitmore. If I've changed, if you find me and I speak but don't blink, if I smile but my eyes don't follow, then it's not me. Don't listen. Don't follow. Turn around. Run, and if you can't run, remember. Because remembering is the only thing that still matters. They can mimic your face. They can wear your voice. But they cannot steal your memories if you scream them into the sky. Say your name. Say it louder. Say it again and again and again. This is Tom Whitmore. I think. I don't know where I am. I've been walking since I left the station and the sun hasn't come up. Not once. The light doesn't change. It's this permanent gray. Like dawn held its breath and never let go. The air is thick, not fog anymore. This is heavier. It clings. I wipe my face and my fingers come away damp, but I can't tell if it's moisture or just the air melting on me. There's no sound, no wind, no birds, no bugs. The only noise is my own boots and the quiet crunch of dead things beneath them. I don't look down anymore. I don't want to know what I'm walking over. I passed a sign earlier, just a piece of plywood nailed to a pole. The letters were hand-painted, big and black, but they were smeared at the edges like they'd been running for a long time. It said, "You are inside it now." I didn't stop. There's no direction out here. The compass in my coat pocket spins. I dropped it after the 3rd time it pointed straight up. I think the fog has learned how to move. Not just drift, move, deliberate. It curls around abandoned buildings and fills the space between fences and windows and doorways like it's mapping every edge. It doesn't rush. It just follows. Slowly. Patiently. There's something following me, too. I haven't seen it. Not directly. But I hear it. It doesn't step. Doesn't breathe. But every now and then, when I pause, I hear the echo of my own movement, played back to me, one beat behind. Like a recording being stitched together from pieces of my walk. Like it's building me from the outside in. I passed a barn not long ago, half collapsed, one side caved in. Inside was a horse, or what was left of one. Its eyes were open, still glossy, but its legs were wrong, bent inward, as if it had turned itself inside out trying to stand. I stood there a long time staring at it. It stared back. I don't think it was dead. There are voices on the wind now, not carried, made. The fog generates them. Every time I turn my head, I swear I hear someone calling from the left. Never the right, always the left. My name. Sometimes my father's voice, sometimes Renee's. Sometimes a voice I haven't heard since childhood. They speak in fragments. Come see it. We waited. You left too late. The ground is changing. The trees are too close together now. Like they weren't planted but grown to close in. The space between them is just wide enough to walk through. And the bark, it pulses. Not like a heartbeat. Like breathing. I'm not alone. I haven't been alone for miles. I just can't see what's with me. There's no town. No road signs. The last gas station I found had no doors, no shelves, and no shadow. I stood inside it and felt like I'd stepped into a sketch of a place that used to matter. Something unfinished. Something not meant for people. I started counting again. My steps. The cracks in the pavement. The gaps between trees. Counting is the only thing that keeps the shape of the world from sliding. If you're still alive, if you're somewhere the sky still turns blue, don't come looking. Don't follow the signal. Don't follow me. The signal is bait now. I know that. I think I've always known. But I keep talking. Because maybe my voice can make it home even if I can't. Maybe someone hears this a week from now, a year. Maybe a child finds it buried in the mud and plays it on a hand-cranked tape deck and hears what happened before everything ended. If that's you, run. Turn the tape off. Forget my name. I can still feel it. The pressure behind my eyes. The low hum in my jaw. It's not infection. It's invitation. Like something knocking from the inside. I haven't eaten in days. Haven't drunk anything in longer. I don't feel hunger. I don't feel thirst. I just feel watched. I passed a mirror nailed to a tree. Clean. No cracks. I looked in. I didn't see myself. Not nothing. Just not me. A man, yes. Same coat. Same jawline. But his eyes were gone. Just pale pits. His mouth was open like he was trying to scream, but there was no sound. I walked away. I didn't shatter the glass. I think it was waiting for that. I don't know how far I've come, but I know I'm close to something. Something final. There's a feeling in the air like the edge of a page before it's turned. Like I'm standing in the space between this world and what comes after. If I cross it, I won't come back. Not really. Not as me. I'll try to check in one more time. If I still remember how to speak. If my voice still belongs to me. If I haven't already walked into the next version of the world. This is Tom Whitmore, I think.